If we don't wake up to ourselves, we're becoming more like England. We're not that far behind them and other countries around the world. This won't be a place that people will be, scrambling to come out to. I fear for the future generations of this nation the way we're going.
This is the last warning for Australia before we cross the point of no return. We're not talking about some distant threat or theoretical crisis. We're talking about the systematic destruction of everything that made Australia great, happening right now while most people are sleepwalking through their daily lives. ASIO just released their 2025 threat assessment warning that Australia is facing multifaceted, merging, intersecting, concurrent and cascading threats. Our own intelligence agency is basically screaming that we're stuffed from every direction. Meanwhile, Australians are more worried about their coffee prices than their country's survival. The sovereignty crisis. We're already owned. Let's start with the most terrifying reality. Australia has already lost its sovereignty, and most people haven't even noticed. We're not an independent nation anymore. We're an economic colony of China, with American military bases scattered across our continent. The AUKUS submarine deal isn't about defending Australia. It's about surrendering what's left of our independence to become America's unsinkable aircraft carrier in the Pacific. We're spending $368 billion on submarines we won't see for decades, while China already owns our ports, our power grids, and our politicians. Think about this for a second. We can't make our own decisions about trade without checking with Beijing first. We can't defend ourselves without begging Washington for permission. We can't even control our own immigration policy because both major parties are bought and paid for by the same corporate interests. When did we become so pathetic that we need foreign powers to tell us how to run our own bloody country? Our grandfathers would be rolling in their graves if they could see what we've become. But the economic collapse makes this even worse. The economic death spiral. We're already in recession. Here's what the government doesn't want you to know. Australia's already in a per capita recession, which means every individual Australian is getting poorer, while politicians claim the economy is growing. It's statistical fraud on a national scale. David Koch is warning that Australia may face a full recession in 2025. The March quarter GDP data shows the economy grinding along at 0.2%, which is basically flatlining. We're on the edge of economic collapse, and the government's response is to bring in more immigrants to make the numbers look better on paper. Over 27,000 businesses have shut down under Labor's watch. That's not economic management, that's economic vandalism. Small businesses are the backbone of any healthy economy, and they're being systematically destroyed by red tape, high taxes, and cheap imported labour. Meanwhile, the average Australian home costs over $1 million, youth unemployment is skyrocketing, and the birth rate has collapsed because young people can't afford to start families. We're literally breeding ourselves out of existence to maintain property prices for boomer investors. But the social breakdown is the most dangerous part. The social fabric is tearing apart. Australia used to be a cohesive society where people shared common values and looked out for each other. That's gone. We've imported so many people so quickly that we don't have a unified culture anymore. We have competing tribes fighting over resources. The housing crisis isn't just about economics. It's about social cohesion. When young Australians can't afford homes in their own country while foreign investors and recent arrivals get priority, that breeds resentment. When established communities are overwhelmed by rapid demographic change, that creates tension. We're seeing the early stages of what's happening in Europe. Parallel societies that don't integrate, rising crime rates, and social tensions that politicians pretend don't exist. The difference is we still have time to change course, but that window is closing fast. Mental health issues are exploding, especially among young people who see no future in their own country. Suicide rates are climbing. Drug use is rampant. Social trust is collapsing. These aren't separate problems. They're symptoms of a society in terminal decline. And the political class is making it worse. The political betrayal, they're not on our side. Here's the hardest truth of all. Australia's political class has completely abandoned the Australian people. Labor and Liberal are two wings of the same globalist bird, serving foreign interests and corporate donors while ordinary Australians get screwed. They're not incompetent. They're treacherous. Every policy that hurts ordinary Australians benefits someone who's paying them. Mass immigration benefits property investors and cheap labour employers. Chinese investment benefits politicians with business interests. American military bases benefit defence contractors. When politicians own multiple investment properties while young Australians can't afford rent, that's not a coincidence. It's corruption. When they vote for policies that directly benefit their personal wealth while claiming to represent the people, that's betrayal. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It's just not designed to benefit you. But here's what really should terrify you. The digital prison. They're building the cage. While Australians argue about trivial issues, the government is quietly building a digital surveillance and control system that would make East Germany jealous. Digital IDs, cashless society, social media censorship, age verification, it's all connected. They want to know everything you buy, everywhere you go, everyone you talk to, and everything you think. The eSafety Commissioner is pushing to control what Australians can see on YouTube. The Misinformation Bill gives the government power to decide what's true and what's false. This isn't about safety, it's about control. Once they can monitor and restrict your digital life, they control your real life. No cash means no privacy. Digital ID means no anonymity. Censored internet means no dissent. We're sleepwalking into a digital dictatorship while arguing about whether coffee should cost $6. By the time most people realise what's happening, it'll be too late to resist. The demographic replacement. We're being erased. Let's talk about the elephant in the room that nobody wants to acknowledge. Australia's undergoing demographic replacement at a pace unprecedented in human history. We're bringing in 400,000 plus people per year while the Australian birth rate collapses. This isn't immigration, it's population replacement. In major cities, Australian-born residents are already minorities in many suburbs. English is becoming a foreign language in parts of our own country. Traditional Australian culture is being systematically erased and replaced. The government calls this diversity, but what they really mean is the elimination of a distinct Australian identity. You can't have a nation without a people, and you can't have a people without a shared culture and heritage. When young Australians can't afford to have children while the government imports hundreds of thousands of people annually, that's not sustainable immigration. It's demographic suicide. We're literally paying for our own replacement. The final warning, this is your last chance. Here's the brutal reality, fellas. Australia has maybe 18 months before these crises converge into a perfect storm that destroys everything our ancestors built. The economic collapse, social breakdown, sovereignty loss, and demographic replacement are all accelerating simultaneously. Once we cross certain thresholds, there's no going back. Once foreign ownership reaches critical mass, we can't reclaim our assets. Once demographic replacement reaches the tipping point, we can't restore our culture. Once the digital control system is complete, we can't resist tyranny. Once economic collapse hits, we can't rebuild without foreign help. The choice is simple. Wake up now or lose Australia forever. This isn't about left versus right, Labor versus Liberal, or any other political theatre. This is about survival. Do we want to remain Australians in our own country, or do we want to become a minority population in a Chinese economic colony with American military bases? The point of no return is here. Every day we delay action, the problems get worse and the solutions get harder. Every day more businesses close, more sovereignty is lost, more social cohesion disappears, and more control systems are implemented. The politicians won't save us. They're the problem. The media won't warn us. They're complicit. The institutions won't protect us. They're captured. It's up to ordinary Australians to wake up and demand change before it's too late. But here's the thing. Most people won't wake up until it's too late. they'll keep arguing about trivial issues while their country disappears around them. They'll keep trusting politicians who despise them. They'll keep believing media that lies to them. The question isn't whether Australia will survive. It's whether enough Australians will wake up in time to save what's left of it. This is your last warning, fellas. After this, there won't be another chance. The window's closing, the point of no return is here, and time is running out. Wake up or watch Australia die. The choice is yours, but you won't get another one. To see the latest Australian crisis, click this video here.